Hello there, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Charter Ed Talks. I'm Ryan Eldridge, Charter School Advisor for Charter School Capital, and I'm honored to be joined today by Tom Tafoya, Chief Operations Officer for Visions in Education. And we're here to discuss managing sustainable charter schools, operational strategies for long-term success. So I appreciate you coming today, Tom. Welcome. And why don't we just kick it off, jump right into it.
Right.
First question. And so Visions has been around for about 20 years now. And so what have been some of the greatest challenges over the years?
So I've been with Visions for 14 years, and over that time frame, we've encountered a lot of ups and downs. When we had initial growth, we did not have a lot of administrative systems and people in place to manage the growth, so we tripped over ourselves constantly, and I think that really hurt us. We had a period where we had declining enrollment because we just weren't doing our job well. And so I think over that time we started to get smarter and started bringing the right people and start building the systems for kind of sustained growth. So starting out with not having some good administrative systems and people in place really was a challenge. At the same time, you have the competitive pressure. So if the competition is coming and you're not really set up to succeed, you're not going to succeed. And so I think between the just having good systems and good structure for the operation, let alone are we providing great services to our students, is a really big challenge. And I'm only going to talk about the operational pieces because I'm the operations officer. I'm in charge of business technology, enrollment, ordering materials, all those types of things. And so from my perspective, not having good peoples and systems was a big challenge. And then the competition, and then the external environment that's constantly changing and impacting the things that we have to do to meet our obligations as a charter school. And so those are some of the big challenges that we faced over the years. I think the big things in trying to maintain a sustainable charter over time is really being focused on two things: maximizing revenues, minimizing expenditures. And it sounds so simple. And under each of those umbrellas, we can go for days on all the different tactics and strategies for each. And so I'll just kind of cover some of the top high ones. From obviously maximizing revenue. Number one is growing enrollment and or maintaining your enrollments. It's one thing to grow enrollment, but if you have a retention problem, you're going to continually have to keep filling that leaking bucket. And so we've done a lot of work to systematize and really improve our enrollment practices, from using really advanced marketing techniques and building enrollment systems to have the workflow, the enrollment process be very streamlined, to continue to grow enrollment, and then also kind of working on ensuring that our retention is good. And really that's the biggest challenge, is retention. Do we know why students are staying with us and why they're leaving? Are we surveying them or not? And are we learning from those surveys and making adjustments as we go? And over time, we've done that. We've listened to the surveys, kind of paying attention to what the competitors are doing, and making adjustments every step of the way, so that those families that we get, we want to keep them, and then continue to grow the kids in a really managed way. We don't want to just chase growth for the sake of growing, because that's generally going to lead to not a good outcome for the kids, because you're not really serving them well. And so we've tried to approach it, a managed growth approach. We average about 10% growth a year. For us, that's what we want to do. We're turning away hundreds of kids a year, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves where we're not providing really great services and systems to have good outcomes for them. And so really focusing on that piece, that's that maximizing enrollment piece, which results in maximized revenues. Certainly you got to pursue all types of revenues, whether that be your SALPA arrangement, special ed,
right.
Summer school ADA programs, Medi-Cal reimbursements. Are you fully utilizing all of your teachers because you're managing them properly and appropriately? Those are all tactics we've kind of turned over, constantly looking to turn over every stone to ensure we're maximizing our revenues. Because again, we're not trying to grow 30, 40% a year.
Right.
We want to maintain a really good steady growth, but in that steady growth, maximize our revenues so that we're not kind of wondering what happened to all the money. On the flip side is minimizing expenses, and so with that is really, I'm cheap, and so I'm always looking for a deal, and I want to make sure we're getting the best deal, and whether we're building technology or buying technology, For all the staff we hire, do we have systems and metrics in place to ensure our staff are fully utilized? And so that's a lot of the work we do is really, when we hire 10 new teachers, we want to make sure they're full on day one and they stay full throughout the year. And so, again, you can only do that if you have really good enrollment processes and practices that as you lose a student, we can immediately replace a student. So that's a way for us to minimize our expenses on our staffing. And we have elaborate systems and processes in place to make sure that we are able to do that with high efficiency, which, again, allows us to really have a lot of money left over to, we have an online program that serves about 2,500 kids. We give them, every kid gets a Chromebook. If they're low income, they get a MiFi unit. And those aren't cheap.
Yeah.
And so that's how we're able to do those types of things, is by making sure every stone is turned over and every expense is minimized. Really kind of paying attention that this is taxpayer money. It's not our money.
Right.
It's taxpayer money, and really being cognizant of that and respecting that, and then doing our best with all the resources we have, and trying to serve as many kids that want to be served by us, but do so in a way that's really good for them, and not just growing for growth's sake.
Yeah, that's great. Now, how many total students do you serve?
We serve about 6,300 right now.
Wow.
We have one charter in Northern California, 6,300 students, and this past spring we turned away about 900 kids. We do an independent study program, so we have homeschooling and several online high school programs, one for at-risk kids and one for kind of a college preparatory program.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a lot of kids to manage, so it sounds like you're doing a great job up there, and appreciate you coming on screen today and chatting with us and giving your insight and expertise. That wraps up this episode of Charter Ed Talks. Again, thank you, Tom. We appreciate it, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the session today. Thank you.